Welcome back. Boston has entered the chat here in our Salem 5 studios. We were just talking a lot of Patriots, obviously, with Donnie Wahlberg. Now, I think we need to respect the competition a little bit.
We do?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, look, the team that's over your shoulder at the moment is actually pretty good. Houston Texans, pretty good team.
They are good.
I mean, they have to be, right, to be in the divisional round. I would not have been saying the same thing if it were the Steelers. But I do respect Houston, and a guy who I know respects the Texans quite a bit as well. Good friend of the program, John Lyons, WEEI. Joins us here. John, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be talking about playoff football and not the first round of the NFL draft like we've been doing the last few Januaries.
Amen.
You are not kidding. So with this team, everything that I don't have a whole lot of respect for this Texans offense, and we can get to that. But there's no question this is one of, if not the best defense in the league. And so given the Patriots have had a fairly prolific offense this year with obviously an MVP candidate in Drake Maye, an outstanding passing offense in particular, what's the key for Houston to slow that down? How does this work to the Texans' advantage?
Yeah, look, if I'm the Houston Texans, what I'm trying to do is play man coverage across the board against the Patriots receivers. Let's not forget, Derek Stingley's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. He was a top 10 draft pick, played on that 2019 LSU team with Joe Burrow. He's been a star since he was 18 years old. And he might not even be the best corner on his own team this year. Like, that's Kamari Lassiter, who's been tremendous this season. Both of them have 4 interceptions as well. Texans also, too. Third most takeaways in the NFL. They forced 29 during the regular season this year, and we saw a couple big ones against the Steelers. So I have those guys play man coverage across the board against the Patriots, and I force the Patriots to block that pass rush. I mean, Sheldon Rankins can push the pocket in the middle. Will Anderson's one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. Will Campbell does have a little bit of experience against him playing at LSU when Will Anderson was at Alabama, but one of the best players really in the league, but at least as an edge rusher there. Danielle Hunter, not that far behind him. Those guys combined for 27 sacks this year. So that's really, if I'm the Texans, that's what I'm going to. That's my bread and butter. And I know people say that the Texans kind of line up and they do what they do. And that is true, don't get me wrong. But don't be surprised if they mix it up a little bit. This time last week, we were talking about how the Chargers played the most zone coverage in the NFL, and we thought the Patriots could pick that apart. And the Chargers ended up playing a lot more man coverage than I think a lot of people thought they would. And it had some success, especially in the first half against the Patriots. So I know the Texans have been a classic example of kind of they do what they do and they do it really well type defense. But don't be surprised if they mix things up a little bit as well, especially trying to confuse the left side of the Patriots offensive line with Jared Wilson and Will Campbell both being just in their second playoff game.
All right, well, sticking with, I guess, what the Texans can do against the Patriots. You mentioned breaking out into man-on-man coverage to try to make things more uncomfortable, but that kind of brings us to the question of how often and how efficiently can the Patriots run the ball, or is that going to be too predictable? So we know scheme is going to be a huge thing here. How will the Texans adjust to that? Because it can either be Drake Maye running, or they can make sure that they disguise it to make sure that they break out their other two guys.
Yeah, one note on Drake Maye scrambling. I mean, that 37-yard scramble he had at the end of the first half last week, arguably the biggest play in the game. Like, set up the actual game-winning field goal, even though it was only their 6th point of the game. But Texans have given up some QB scrambles this year. Because, again, sometimes they're playing their man coverage, or sometimes those defensive ends get a little too aggressive. So that might be something that picks up a key third down here and there. But, yeah, it's an interesting question about the run game, because the Patriots have been averaging 5 yards a carry this year when they run at their right tackle behind Morgan Moses. So I would follow that script and run at those defensive ends. And I do it behind Will Campbell as well. One of the ways to help neutralize a good pass rush, force those guys to defend a bunch in the run game. The Patriots have great outside speed in their run game with Travion Henderson. We've seen all the long touchdown runs he's had this year. Ramondre Stevenson right now looks the best he's looked late in the season since his rookie year in 2021. So I would go right at those guys. I would run at Will Anderson. I would run at Danielle Hunter. Now, look, easier said than done, I know. But I do think that's going to be something that's a big part of their game plan. Don't be surprised either. They go 12 personnel or they go extra offensive linemen with Thayer Munford. They did that a lot late in the season. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see that. And I'm interested to see how the Texans handle that. It's something they've been kind of hit or miss with so far this year. Could be something that the Patriots can find a little area to take advantage of.
You brought up the rookies on the left side of that offensive line for the Patriots a few times, but you brought it up, John, in a schematic sense. I'm curious, you personally, level of concern for the side of that offensive line, my friend, because I'm going to be honest with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, mine's at a 37 because I'm just saying, when I watch these monsters on the Texans defensive line, and I saw Will Campbell last week, and I saw Jared Wilson last week, I am concerned because these cats are different breeds, and they are coming after. They saw the tape too. They saw that Chargers game too. They are coming after our boys. What is your level of concern?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty high. And that doesn't mean that Campbell and Wilson can't have a good game. But the way I look at it is everything the Chargers did that gave the Patriots problems, the Texans can do at a higher level. So
Right.
you know, that's, to me, that's what gives me some concern. I wouldn't be surprised if you see times where Sheldon Rankins is lined up over Jared Wilson, and then you have Will Anderson over Will Campbell. And I think the Patriots are going to have to devote extra resources to that. You're going to see them chip with running backs from Andre Stevenson. I mean, Travion Henderson might have been the unsung hero of the game last week against the Chargers, where it was his block on the Hunter Henry touchdown that gave Drake Maye the time to throw. You're going to need plays like that. Don't be surprised if they use tight ends as well. But one thing that's interesting is if you go back and look at when they played Cleveland and Myles Garrett had the 5 sacks, some of the biggest issues the Patriots had was when they put an extra tight end out there, and it just didn't really work well with Will Campbell. And maybe they've gotten past that now, but keep an eye on that because maybe they'll just go 6 offensive linemen. Maybe they'll go with a running back out there. And another thing, too, and this is going to be on the wide receivers, those guys are going to have to get open quickly. Drake Maye is going to have to get rid of the ball quickly. We saw him hang on to the ball too long a couple times in the Chargers game, got strip sacked twice. One of them, the Patriots lost the fumble. So it's not just Will Campbell. It's not just Jared Wilson. It's also partly on Josh McDaniels for giving those guys extra help. It's partly on Maye for being ready to get rid of the ball quickly. And it's partly on the receivers. Those guys are going to have to get open quicker than I think they're used to. Otherwise, Maye's not going to have anywhere to go, and he could be in some trouble.
Tell you what, John, Vegas had the look ahead hypothetical line for this game at Patriots -1.5. It actually opens at 2.5, has climbed to 3.5. What I'm telling you out there, if you're not into sports betting, is people think the Patriots are going to win this game. Do you?
I do, and I think one of the biggest things, actually, guys, and we haven't touched on it yet, is this Nico Collins situation.
Yeah.
Because the Texans' offense, if I used one word to describe it, it would kind of be plodding. They just kind of plod along, and eventually they'll score, 10 or 13 points. Let's not forget that Pittsburgh game. That was a 10-6 game, later on in the second half, and then things kind of got opened up. But I think this Nico Collins situation is huge because he's their best offensive player, and he's a guy that even when the Texans' offense isn't playing well, he can make a big play. And he's the type of player that could turn, say, a 17-14 loss into a 21-17 win. So I think if the Texans, and look, he hasn't practiced a couple days in a row now, if the Texans don't have him, I think they're going to really struggle to score more than 14 points. And as great as the Texans defense is, I do see the Patriots being able to score more than 14. So honestly, I think the Patriots win. And it's funny that it's a non-quarterback, but I think Nico Collins might be the single biggest factor in this game if you're looking at just one individual player.
From your lips to the football god's ears, my friend. John Lyons, WEEI. We'll all be rooting on a Pats win come Sunday. Thank you very much for hopping on. Hopefully we'll have a chance to preview more Pats next week.
Hey, always a pleasure, guys. Have a great rest of the night and enjoy the Chara ceremony.